This is the quarterly update for collaborative code competitions. I'm Josh,
And my name's Arman.
and we're just going to be talking about what we did this past quarter. So, the problem motivation for collaborative code competitions is that novice and intermediate programmers want to learn new programming concepts, but available resources like Code Academy or HackerRank don't effectively scaffold for learning or engagement. And this is difficult because learning is a difficult outcome to measure, and so it's very difficult to scaffold directly for learning outcomes. So our approach is, instead of attempting to measure and scaffold for learning directly, we identify practices which we already know promote learning, in our case, collaboration specifically, and we scaffold for those mechanisms instead. And so our research questions for this project are: how can we scaffold for mechanisms of effective collaboration, which are known to promote learning and engagement among novice and intermediate programmers, and what principles of game design can we incorporate into pair programming to create a fun and engaging learning experience? And so we'll go over our system very quickly. It's hosted at ccc.glitch.me. And our system is essentially a collaborative text editor which allows two participants to work on coding challenges together. The editor only allows one player to type at a time, which means that the pilot co-pilot roles in pair programming are enforced. Users switch between roles based on number of keystrokes. And because this system essentially enforces the pair programming structure, we call this strict pair programming by keystrokes, or SPPK. So the architecture of our system is fairly simple. We host it all on Glitch, which allows us to run a full stack web application. And on the back end, we run a Node.js server, which holds a WebSocket server and a ShareDB server. And we use raw WebSocket messages to communicate back and forth between the client and the server when a player's turn ends. And we use the ShareDB server to keep track of both players' editors to keep them in sync with one another.
So next we ran our user study. And this user study had 2 sessions, each with a pair of intermediate programmers. The users were asked to work together on 5 coding challenges for 30 minutes each, and to work on as many challenges as they prefer. So the users in the experimental study were asked to switch typing on a random number of keystrokes, while the users in the control study were asked to switch on a set number of keystrokes. The reasons for this were because of 3 goals that we had. The first was we were trying to measure what types of effective collaboration take place when 2 participants work together to solve challenges. The second was to measure what types of engagement takes place when 2 participants work together to solve challenges. And the third was how do we measure the fun, or is there any fun in the system as a result of players switching off control based on the randomized keystrokes. So our findings from that study, we were able to scaffold for effective collaboration that promotes learning between 2 intermediate programmers working on multiple coding challenges. We found that they did exhibit many of the collaborative expressions that we were looking for, but we also disproved the affordance of using random keystrokes as a form of promoting fun in the system. A lot of the users found this frustrating, and they also were not able to we were not able to correlate the random keystroke switching to the actual expression of fun. So the limitations of our study. So the study only involved 2 sessions. So despite having clear results of what we were able to prove and disprove, we were unable to draw significance from our observations. So for the next steps, we have our design argument for collaboration, but we would like to scaffold for fun in our system. So that's the main focus. And we would do this by identifying other game mechanics and exploring possible ways to apply those mechanics to pair programming. And one specific idea that we're looking at is incorporating competition into our system.